In this video, I want to answer the question, what is risk tolerance? Risk tolerance, also known as risk appetite, is the amount of risk an organisation is prepared to tolerate in its projects. Now, a side note. In the world of corporate risk and corporate risk management, there are subtle differences in the way that the terms risk tolerance and risk appetite are used. But for our purposes as project managers, we don't need to worry about those distinctions. You can treat them as two terms for the same thing. So let's explore a little bit more about risk tolerance. We'll start by understanding what risk is. Risk is uncertainty that can affect the outcome of your project. And we often represent risk with a map where we graph uncertainty or the likelihood of an event happening against the impact it would have on the outcome of our project. Therefore, we represent risk tolerance as a region of that graph within which we are not prepared to accept risks. So there is a boundary to that region, and that is the line of risk tolerance. And if you think about it, then really and truly an organisation should be saying that if a project has a risk inside this zone I've coloured red, beyond the line of risk tolerance, and we cannot move that risk out of that zone, none of the actions that we can find will sufficiently reduce the likelihood of that risk occurring or the impact should it occur, then by saying that it's beyond the line of risk tolerance, we should be saying that we won't tolerate that risk and therefore we won't carry out that project if we can't manage that risk down. Sadly, my experience is that very few organisations take that robust approach to risk. They will tolerate risks beyond the line that they've predefined as the limit of risk tolerance. Risk tolerance, if you think about it, is a balance between formality and caution on the one hand and informality and innovation and creativity on the other. And organisations can adopt a number of different strategic risk postures. These will vary from highly risk averse at one end of the spectrum through a cautious, conservative approach to risk to a more open approach to a high appetite for risk where the organisation is almost hungry to take on innovative, creative but risky, possibly high return projects. In fact, if you think about it, an organisation would be wise not to have a single fixed risk appetite or risk tolerance across all of its portfolio of projects. It should be engaging in a number of different projects with different risk profiles. It should be prepared to tolerate a high amount of risk on potentially high return innovative projects where relatively little budget is at stake, perhaps. But for core projects where a failure could have an existential threat to the organisation or could have a significant impact on the organisation's operations or its trading or its share price, for those sorts of projects, the organisation should have a low tolerance for risk, a low risk appetite. So, risk tolerance is about the amount of risk we're prepared to accept on our projects. We represent it visually on a graph of the likelihood versus the impact of risks on our project. And we set our risk tolerance level for any particular project based on the potential benefits of the project, the impact of failures, the culture of our organisation, the level of innovation on our project, and perhaps also the spread of risk across the wider portfolio of our project. If you've enjoyed this video, then please do give us a like, subscribe to the channel, and maybe even hit the notification bell. And of course, do visit our website, onlinepmcourses.com, where you'll find lots of free and paid resources for project managers.